Welcome to my channel. Today I want to ask you something important. Have you ever studied English for months or even years, but when it's time to speak, your brain goes silent? You know the words, you've learned the grammar, but in real situations, nothing comes out. You freeze, you feel nervous, and you start to wonder, why is this happening to me? If this sounds familiar, stay with me, because this video is different. In this video, you will discover the real reasons why so many learners study English but still can't speak it. And more importantly, you'll learn simple, powerful solutions that can truly change everything. These are not boring grammar lessons. These are real, practical methods used by successful English learners around the world. So, keep watching until the end, because you might realize that the problem is not you, it's the method. Chapter 1. The Hidden Problem. Behind your struggle. Let's begin with a question that many English learners ask themselves quietly. Why can't I speak even after all this time? You have studied grammar. You know the rules. You've memorized hundreds of words. Maybe you even passed a few tests. But when someone talks to you in English, your brain freezes. The words disappear. Your mouth stays closed. You feel nervous, even embarrassed. And then a small voice in your head whispers, "Maybe I'm not good at languages." Let me tell you the truth. That voice is wrong. You are not bad at languages. You are not lazy or slow. The problem is not you. It's the method you've been using. Let me share a story. It's about a woman named Siti from Indonesia. Siti studied English for more than 5 years in school. She could write long answers in exams. She knew all the tenses: present perfect, past continuous, future conditional. She could explain grammar rules better than some native speakers. But one day at a job interview, the interviewer asked her a simple question in English. "Tell me about yourself." Siti froze. Her mind went blank. All her grammar knowledge disappeared in 1 second. She tried to answer, but the words didn't come out. She felt confused and embarrassed. That day, she realized something important. She knew English on paper, but not in real life. Maybe you feel the same way. You study hard. You spend hours learning vocabulary lists. You try to memorize irregular verbs. You do grammar exercises until your hand hurts. But still, when you need to speak, it's like your brain forgets everything. And this makes you feel tired and frustrated. You start to think, maybe I'll never be fluent. But here is the good news. You are not alone, and there is nothing wrong with your brain. The problem is that traditional English learning teaches you about English, but it doesn't teach you how to use English. It's like trying to learn how to ride a bicycle by reading a book. You read about balance, speed, and safety, but when you finally sit on the bike, you fall. Not because you're not smart, but because you didn't practice the real thing. Let's take another example. Imagine someone who wants to learn cooking. They read cookbooks every day. They memorize recipes. They watch cooking shows. But they never actually enter the kitchen. One day, they try to cook, and everything goes wrong. Why? Because reading about cooking is not the same as cooking. The same is true for English. Reading grammar rules is not the same as having a conversation. Memorizing vocabulary is not the same as answering questions in real time. Most schools and courses teach you information about English. They tell you to remember rules and words. But real communication is different. Real English is fast. It's full of feeling, rhythm, tone, and body language. It's about responding, not remembering. That's why so many learners struggle. They are trying to speak by using memory instead of experience. Let's go back to City. After her interview, she didn't give up. She realized she needed a new method. She started listening to English podcasts during her morning walk. She watched short English videos with subtitles. She began speaking out loud at home. Simple things like, "I'm making breakfast," or "I like this movie." She stopped focusing on grammar and started focusing on real usage. After a few months, she went to another interview. Again, the interviewer asked her, "Tell me about yourself." This time, Sidi smiled. She took a deep breath, and she spoke. Was it perfect? Number. But it was real. It was confident. And it worked. Now I want to ask you, have you been stuck in the same pattern? Do you keep studying but avoid speaking? Do you feel frustrated because you don't see real progress? Then remember this. Knowing English is not the same as using English. Just like knowing how to swim is not the same as jumping into the water. You have to practice the real thing. You have to feel it, hear it, speak it, live it. And you don't need to be perfect. You just need to begin. In the next chapter, I'll show you how to build a strong foundation using something simple, but very powerful. It's called input, and it will change the way you learn English forever. Stay with me. Chapter 2. The Input Secret. Why you must listen first. Now that you understand the real problem, that knowing English is not the same as using it, it's time to explore the first big solution. And that solution is something simple but powerful. Input. What is input? It's the English that enters your brain, the words you hear, the sentences you read. It is the language you receive before you try to speak. And just like food feeds your body, input feeds your language brain. Let's take a moment to think about how babies learn. A baby does not start life by speaking. A baby listens. For many months, the baby hears the language every day. The baby listens to the sounds, the rhythm, the music of speech. The baby hears thousands of words before saying even one. There are no grammar lessons, no vocabulary tests. Just input, lots and lots of input. And then, one day, the baby speaks. Not because they studied, but because their brain is ready. This is natural learning, and it works. So, why not use the same method? Many adult learners make one big mistake. They try to speak before their brain is ready. They push themselves to talk, to form sentences, to say something, even when they have no idea how the language sounds in real life. This creates stress. It builds fear. And that fear becomes a block. But there is a better way, a smarter way, and it starts with listening. Let me tell you a story about a learner named Amina. She lived in Morocco and wanted to improve her English. But she was busy with work and family. She didn't have time for English classes or big textbooks. So, she decided to try something new. Every day, she watched one short YouTube video in English. Sometimes it was a travel vlog. Sometimes it was a cooking video. She always turned on English subtitles. At first, she didn't understand much, but she didn't stop. She just kept watching and listening. Slowly, she started to recognize words and phrases. Her brain was catching the patterns. She also loved music. So, she listened to English songs every evening. She read the lyrics and sang along. It felt fun. It didn't feel like study. After 3 months, something amazing happened. Amina started to understand whole sentences without subtitles. She began to think in English during simple tasks like walking or cooking. Her listening improved naturally, and soon speaking became easier too. She was no longer forcing it. It was growing from the input. Now let me ask you, have you ever studied grammar for hours, only to forget everything the next day? But then, you hear one song and remember the lyrics for weeks. That's the magic of input. Your brain loves real language. It remembers better when you connect words to feelings, to pictures, to sounds. So, what kind of input should you use? Start with things you enjoy. If you like cooking, watch recipes in English. If you enjoy funny videos, find simple English comedy clips. Use English subtitles at the beginning. They help your eyes and ears connect. You can understand more without translating every word. Don't worry if you only understand 30% at first. That's enough. Your brain is still learning. The next time you watch the same video, you'll understand more. Maybe 50%, maybe 70%. This is how real progress happens. Another great tool is reading. But keep it simple. Don't start with newspapers or advanced books. Start small. Read one short article, one English story for beginners, or even English subtitles from a movie. You don't need to know every word. Just read for the general meaning. Your brain will notice patterns and structures. Over time, these patterns become part of your language. And here's something important. Don't stop and translate everything. That slows you down. Let the language flow. Trust your brain. It's smarter than you think. It will begin to understand without needing to translate each word. Think of input like watering a plant. You don't pour a big bucket once a month. You give small drops every day. Slowly, the plant grows. It's the same with English. A little bit of input every day will grow your language ability naturally, with no stress. Let's go back to Amina. After 6 months of daily listening, she met a tourist from England in her city. The tourist asked her for directions in English. Amina felt nervous for 1 second, but then something amazing happened. She understood the question, and she answered, slowly, clearly. The tourist smiled. Amina smiled too. She had done it. She could communicate, not because she memorized rules, but because she gave her brain the right input every single day. You can do the same. Start small, watch a short video with English subtitles, listen to a song, read one short paragraph. Do it today, and then tomorrow, and the next day. Little by little, your brain will change. And when the moment comes to speak, the words will be ready. In the next chapter, we will talk about how to make this input a part of your daily life, even if you are busy. You will learn how small daily habits can make a big difference in your English journey. Stay with me. The next step is even more powerful. Chapter 3. Tiny daily habits that make a big impact. Let me ask you something. What sounds easier to do, studying English for 2 hours every Saturday or just 5 minutes every day? Most people will say, 5 minutes, of course. But then they think, is 5 minutes really enough? Can it actually help me speak English? The answer is yes. Not only is it enough, it's more powerful than you think. Because when it comes to learning a language, consistency beats intensity. And in this chapter, you'll see why tiny daily habits can make a big impact on your English journey. Think of your brain like a garden. If you water a plant once a week with a big bucket, sometimes it grows. But sometimes it dies because it gets too much, then nothing for too long. But if you give the plant a small amount of water every day, just a few drops, it grows stronger and healthier over time. Your English works the same way. You don't need big, difficult study sessions. You need simple, daily contact with the language. Small touches that happen again and again. That's where the magic happens. Let me tell you a story. It's about a young man named Leo from Italy. Leo always wanted to speak English, but he was very busy. He had a full-time job, he helped his parents at home, and he often felt tired. For many years, he believed he didn't have time to learn. But one day, he heard a simple idea. Do just 5 minutes a day, but do it every day. He decided to try it. Leo created a rule for himself. Every day, he would do something in English, even if it was just for 5 minutes. Some days, he listened to a short podcast. Other days, he read a small English article on his phone while waiting for the bus. Sometimes, he practiced one sentence out loud while brushing his teeth. Just 5 minutes. That's all. At first, it felt strange. He thought, is this really helping me? But after 2 weeks, something started to change. English didn't feel like a big subject anymore. It started to feel like a part of his daily life. And he didn't stop. 5 minutes a day became a habit. Some days he wanted to do more, 10 minutes, even 15, but he never forced himself. The small habit kept him going. After 3 months, Leo noticed something big. When he watched English movies, he could understand more. When he listened to songs, he could catch full sentences. And when a tourist in Rome asked him for directions, he actually answered with confidence, not because he had studied hard, but because English had become part of his world. 5 minutes a day changed everything. You can do the same. Start by creating a daily English moment. Just one. It can be at any time that fits your life. When you wake up, listen to a simple English video. While you eat lunch, read one paragraph in English. Before you sleep, repeat one useful sentence out loud. You don't need a perfect plan, you just need to start and keep going. Let's say you learn one sentence every day, just one. For example, could you say that again, please? That's day 1. The next day, where is the nearest bus stop? That's day 2. Day 3. I'm looking for a pharmacy. Keep going. After 1 year, you will have 365 sentences. That's more than enough to handle real conversations, asking questions, giving answers, sharing ideas. You didn't study grammar books. You didn't take long courses. You just showed up every day for a few minutes. And that's the key. Now, some learners say, but 5 minutes is too short. It doesn't feel serious. But here's the truth. Serious progress comes from small steps. Think of how we learn anything in life. A baby doesn't learn to walk by trying to run. A musician doesn't play a song in 1 day. A plant doesn't grow in 1 night. Everything grows slowly, step by step. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be regular. 5 minutes of English is better than 0. Even on a busy day, even when you feel tired, you can find 5 minutes. And often, once you start, you'll want to do more. Let's go back to Leo. After 6 months, he felt completely different. English wasn't scary anymore. It was familiar. He didn't need to force himself. And he didn't need motivation every day. His tiny habit had become part of who he was, a normal part of life, like brushing his teeth. So now I ask you, can you find 5 minutes today? 5 minutes to listen, to read, or to speak 1 sentence in English? If you can, then you can begin a powerful journey. Not 1 big jump, but 1 small step, repeated again and again. In the next chapter, I'll show you how to use English actively without pressure. You'll learn how speaking 1 simple sentence out loud can build real confidence. So don't stop now. The next secret will take you even further. Stay with me. Chapter 4. Speaking without pressure. Let's talk about one of the biggest fears English learners have: speaking. For many people, speaking is the most stressful part of learning a new language. You study, you listen, you read, but when it's time to open your mouth, everything disappears. Your heart beats fast, your hands get sweaty, and your brain feels empty. You feel judged. You feel afraid of making mistakes. You feel like people are watching, waiting, listening for you to mess up. But here's something very important I want to tell you. Speaking doesn't have to feel scary. You can learn to speak without pressure. You can make speaking feel light, fun, safe, even if you're shy or just starting out. And in this chapter, I'll show you exactly how to do that. Let me introduce you to a learner named Anna. Anna is from Brazil, and for a long time, she avoided speaking English. Not because she didn't know words, not because she didn't study, but because every time she tried to speak, she felt judged, even if no one was around. She was afraid of saying something wrong, of sounding stupid, of using the wrong grammar. So she stayed quiet. Then one day, Anna heard a new idea. Speak to yourself first. Not in public, not in class, just by herself, in her room, in a calm and relaxed way. She started doing it every morning. She would wake up, look around, and say simple things in English like, "It's a beautiful day," or "I'm making coffee," or "I have a meeting today." Nothing difficult, no pressure, just real, everyday sentences. And guess what? Speaking started to feel easy. Her voice didn't shake anymore. She didn't worry about mistakes. She didn't feel afraid. because there was no one to judge her. It was just her and the language. And over time, those little sentences became natural. When she did talk to someone in English later, it felt familiar. Her brain had already practiced the patterns. You can do the same. Speak out loud to yourself. It might feel silly at first, but it's one of the most powerful habits you can build. Look around you right now. Can you describe what you see? I see a chair. The window is open. I'm sitting on my bed. These are simple sentences, but they are real English. And when you say them out loud, your brain begins to connect thinking and speaking. That's how fluency grows. Here's another trick. Repeat short phrases from videos or podcasts. When you watch something in English, pause and say the sentence out loud. For example, if someone says, "What are you doing later?" Pause and repeat, "What are you doing later?" Try to copy the tone and rhythm. Don't think too much, just repeat. This is called shadowing, and it helps you train your speaking muscles without needing to create your own sentences from zero. You can also try this. Choose one useful sentence and use it 10 times during the day. For example, "Can you help me?" Say it in the morning. Say it while you walk. Say it while you brush your teeth. You don't need a partner. You don't need a class. You just need your voice and your brain. Repetition makes the sentence automatic. And automatic sentences are the ones you'll use in real conversation. Now, let's be honest. Sometimes learners think, "But I need a native speaker to talk to." And yes, speaking with real people is great, but it's not the only way. Before you talk to others, practice talking to yourself. Build your confidence in private. And when the real conversation comes, you'll be ready. Let's go back to Anna. After a few weeks of speaking to herself every day, she joined an online English conversation group. At first, she was nervous, but then, when it was her turn to speak, something amazing happened. The words came out. Not perfect, but clear. She could answer questions. She could ask simple things. She didn't freeze. Why? Because her brain had already practiced the patterns. Speaking was no longer something scary. It was something familiar. So now I want to ask you, can you say one sentence in English right now? Just one. Look around you. What do you see? What are you doing? Say it out loud. It doesn't matter if no one hears you. What matters is that you hear yourself speaking English. That's where confidence begins. Remember, you don't need to speak perfectly. You just need to speak. Don't wait until you feel ready, because that day may never come. Instead, make speaking feel safe by doing it in your own space, in your own time, without stress. Over time, the pressure disappears, and the confidence grows. In the next chapter, I'll show you how to create your own English-speaking world, even if you live in a country where no one speaks English. You'll learn how to surround yourself with the language, no matter where you are. So stay with me. We're just getting started. Chapter 5. How to think in English and stop translating. Let me ask you a simple question. When you try to speak English, do you first think in your native language and then try to translate into English? If your answer is yes, you are not alone. In fact, most learners do this, and it makes sense. Your brain is more comfortable with your first language. But here's the problem. Translating slows you down. It creates stress. You pause, you hesitate, you lose confidence. That's why one of the most powerful things you can do is learn to think in English. Now, maybe you're thinking, that sounds impossible. I'm not fluent yet. How can I think in English? Don't worry. Thinking in English doesn't mean you need to speak like a native. It simply means your brain starts reacting in English without needing to go back to your native language. And the good news is, anyone can train this skill, step by step, with simple techniques. Let's start with the basics. Thinking in English doesn't begin with big ideas or long sentences. It begins with simple words and small thoughts. For example, instead of thinking, I need to eat breakfast in your native language and translating it, just say the phrase directly in English. I need to eat breakfast. At first, this takes a little effort, but the more you do it, the faster your brain learns. One easy way to start thinking in English is with your daily routine. Every time you do something, try to describe it in English, just one sentence. For example, I'm brushing my teeth. I'm getting dressed. I'm going to work. I'm making coffee. You don't need to speak out loud, although that helps. Just think these sentences as you go through your day. Your brain starts to connect English directly to real life, without translation. Let me tell you about Ahmed, a learner from Egypt. Ahmed spoke good English when writing or reading, but speaking was always difficult. He translated every sentence in his head, and by the time he finished, the conversation had already moved on. One day, he decided to try something new. He started thinking in English during his day. Very simple things. In the morning, I'm tired. On the bus, it's raining. At work, I'm writing an email. Over time, his brain got faster. He didn't need to stop and translate. When someone asked him a question, the answer came more quickly, more naturally. He was still making mistakes, but he was finally speaking with flow. This brings us to another powerful technique: categories and word blocks. Many learners try to memorize single words like apple, banana, orange. But thinking in words is slow. Instead, try to learn and use word blocks. Short phrases that you can use without thinking too much. For example, I'm not sure. Can you help me? I don't know. That sounds good. When you think in blocks, your brain doesn't need to build each sentence from zero. It just uses ready-made pieces. And this is how fluent speakers talk. They don't translate each word. They use language chunks that are already in their mind. Here's another tip. Ask and answer simple questions in your head during the day. For example, what time is it? It's 10 o'clock. What am I doing? I'm waiting for the bus. This exercise trains your brain to think in English using real situations. It feels like a conversation, even if you're alone. You can also use visual thinking. Look at objects around you and name them in English: chair, table, window, pen. Then describe them. The table is brown. The window is open. This is great for beginners because it's simple, clear, and always available. Your environment becomes your classroom. And don't forget one of the most fun ways to think in English: Use your imagination. Imagine you are in a restaurant and ordering food. What would you say? I'd like a coffee, please. Imagine you meet someone new. How would you introduce yourself? Hi, my name is Maria. I'm from Spain. These little role-play exercises, even inside your mind, are a powerful way to practice. Now, of course, in the beginning, you'll still translate sometimes. That's okay. It's part of the process. But with daily practice, your brain will start choosing English first. The pause will become shorter. The hesitation will fade. And one day, you'll notice something amazing. Someone will ask you a question in English, and you'll answer without thinking. It just comes out. That's when you'll know you're truly making progress. So here's your challenge for today. Try to think in English for just 5 minutes. Look around and describe things in your mind. Say what you're doing. Ask and answer 1 or 2 questions silently. Don't worry about mistakes. Don't translate. Just let English be part of your thoughts. Because when you learn to think in English, you unlock real fluency. Not perfect grammar, but natural use. And that's what matters most. In the next chapter, we'll go even deeper. I'll show you how to create your own English-speaking world, even if you live in a place where no one speaks English. This is how you make English part of your life, 24/7. So stay with me. You don't want to miss this next step. Chapter 6. The Power of Repetition and Shadowing. If you've ever felt like you learn something in English but then forget it the next day, you're not alone. This happens to almost every learner. You learn a new phrase, a new expression, maybe even a full sentence, but when it's time to use it, it's gone. Your brain can't find it. It's frustrating. You wonder, why can't I remember? But the answer is simple. Your brain needs repetition. And no, repetition is not boring. Repetition is how your brain builds strong, fast connections. It's how your thoughts become automatic. Think about this. How did you learn to tie your shoes, or ride a bike, or even use your phone without thinking? You repeated it again and again until it became easy. The same thing works with English. The more you repeat useful phrases, the more they become natural, automatic. You won't need to think, you'll just speak. Let's talk about one of the most powerful tools for repetition, shadowing. Shadowing is a technique where you listen to English audio and repeat what you hear immediately, almost like an echo. You don't stop to understand every word. You don't worry about mistakes. You just copy the sounds as closely and as quickly as possible. At first, this feels strange, maybe even uncomfortable, but don't worry. That's normal. And here's the exciting part. Shadowing trains your brain and your mouth to work together. When you shadow, you practice rhythm, tone, pronunciation, and speed, all at the same time. And the more you do it, the smoother and more confident you sound. You don't just know English in your brain, you start to feel English in your body. Let me give you a real story. There was a learner named Jun from South Korea. Jun could understand English well, but his speaking was slow. He paused too much. His pronunciation wasn't clear. One day, he discovered shadowing through a podcast. He started by listening to short dialogues, just 30 seconds or 1 minute. He played the audio and repeated every sentence out loud at the same time as the speaker. At first, he couldn't keep up. He felt frustrated, but he didn't give up. He slowed the audio down, used subtitles at first, and practiced every day for 10 minutes. After 1 month, something changed. He noticed that he could repeat faster. He didn't pause as much. His pronunciation sounded more natural. When he joined a conversation group later, he spoke more clearly, and the words came faster. All because of shadowing. You can do the same, and you don't need any special tools. Just choose a short video, podcast, or audio clip with a clear speaker. Play one sentence. Repeat it immediately. Try to match the speaker's voice, speed, and feeling. Don't stop to analyze. Don't try to be perfect. Just repeat. Here's a simple shadowing plan for beginners. 1. Choose a short video. 1 to 2 minutes is enough. Use something with subtitles. 2. Listen to the full video once. Just watch and understand. 3. Play the video again, sentence by sentence. Pause after each sentence and repeat out loud. 4. Shadow the full video. This time, play the video and try to repeat each sentence with the speaker, without pausing. 5. Repeat this video for 3 to 5 days. Each day, it becomes easier and more natural. This is how you build fluency, real fluency. Not just knowing English, but sounding confident when you speak. And remember, it's okay to repeat the same phrases many times. In fact, it's better. If you repeat, "Can I help you?" 20 times, your brain starts to treat it like one word. It becomes a reflex, and in conversation, that reflex saves you time and reduces fear. Instead of thinking, you speak automatically. Another learner, Fatima from Turkey, said that repeating her favorite scenes from movies helped her more than grammar books ever did. She chose one scene from her favorite romantic comedy and watched it every day. She paused and repeated each line. After 2 weeks, she could say the entire conversation by heart. And more importantly, those expressions started coming out naturally in real life. That's the secret. Repetition makes English part of you. It becomes automatic. When you combine repetition with shadowing, you train your brain, your ears, your mouth, and your memory all at the same time. So here's your challenge. Choose one short audio today, maybe from your favorite movie, show, or a podcast. Shadow it. Repeat the lines again and again. It doesn't need to be long. Even 30 seconds is powerful. Do it for 1 week. You'll be surprised at how much changes in just 7 days. Stay with me, because in the next chapter, we'll talk about something even more powerful: how to build your own English-speaking world, even if you live in a place where no one speaks English. You'll see how to surround yourself with English so your brain starts thinking, hearing, and living in English every day. Let's go deeper. Chapter 7. Vocabulary the smart way. No more word lists. Let's be honest. How many times have you tried to memorize a long vocabulary list? 10 new words a day, maybe 20? You write them down, you review them, and maybe you even take a test. But then, a few days later, you forget half of them. And when it's time to speak, none of those words come to your mouth. You studied them, but you can't use them. Why does this happen? Because memorizing single words doesn't help you speak. Yes, it looks like you're learning. You feel productive. But your brain doesn't work that way in conversation. When we speak, we don't think one word at a time. We think in phrases, in chunks, in groups of words that often go together. That's how real English works, and that's why learning vocabulary the smart way is a game changer. Let's look at an example. Imagine you learn the word chance. Okay, that's useful. But now what? What can you do with it? You could try to remember grammar and build a sentence like, there is a, big chance I will win. But if you learn the phrase, there's a good chance, you can use it immediately. There's a good chance it will rain. There's a good chance she'll be late. See the difference? When you learn phrases, not words, you don't need to build every sentence from zero. You don't need to worry about grammar so much. The phrase already has grammar inside it. It's ready to use. Here's another example. Instead of learning the word suggest, learn the whole phrase, can I suggest something? Now you have a sentence you can use in real life. Simple, clear, natural. This is called learning in chunks, and it's how native speakers speak. They don't think about grammar rules in the middle of a conversation. They just use patterns they've heard many times. You can do the same. And here's the secret. You don't need thousands of words to speak well. You only need the right ones. There are about 1,000 words that make up 80% of daily English conversations. Think about that. If you focus on the most common and useful words and phrases, you can understand and say most of what people say in everyday life. You don't need to sound like a university professor. You just need to communicate. Let me tell you about Maria from Brazil. Maria used to study with a vocabulary book. Every day she tried to memorize 15 new words. But when she traveled to the U.S., she couldn't understand people at the airport or in shops. She had many fancy words in her head, but not the common ones people actually use. Later, she changed her method. She started learning short, useful expressions from real conversations, videos, and podcasts. Phrases like, "That's a good idea. I'm just looking. I'll take this one." After 3 months, her speaking improved fast. Why? Because she was learning real English, the kind people actually use. So how can you do the same? Here's a simple plan. 1. Forget the word lists. Don't try to memorize random words without context. 2. Focus on useful phrases from real life. Things people say at the store, in a restaurant, at work, in daily life. 3. Use a phrase journal. Write down full expressions that you hear or read. Review them every day, not just to remember, but to say them out loud. 4. Repeat these phrases often. Just like we talked about in the last chapter, repetition makes them automatic. 5. Practice using them in your own sentences. For example, if you learn "I'm not sure," try saying, "I'm not sure what time it starts." Or, "I'm not sure if he's coming." You start to build flexibility. Another powerful idea is to group phrases by situation. Learn phrases for ordering food, asking for directions, talking about your job, or making small talk. This way, when the situation comes in real life, you're ready. Your brain has already trained for that moment. Let's take one more example. Many learners know the word help, but don't know how to use it naturally. So instead of just help, learn these phrases. Can you help me? I need some help. Thanks for your help. Let me help you. Now you have 4 phrases you can use instantly in real life. No translation, no hesitation. So remember this. Don't collect words, learn phrases. When you learn a phrase, you learn pronunciation, rhythm, grammar, and meaning, all in one package. It's efficient, it's natural, and it's how real English is spoken. Before we move to the next chapter, here's a quick challenge for you. Choose 3 useful phrases today. Write them down. Say them out loud 10 times each. Then, try to use them during your day, even if just to yourself. Tomorrow, add 3 more. In 1 month, you'll know 90 phrases you can actually use. Stay with me, because in the next chapter, I'll show you how to build your own English-speaking world. Even if you live in a non-English-speaking country, you can create an environment that makes English part of your daily life. You don't want to miss this. Let's go. Chapter 8. Forget grammar rules. Use grammar naturally. Most learners study grammar rules thoroughly but still find themselves making mistakes when they speak. Why does this happen? Because grammar isn't just a set of rules to memorize. It's something you need to feel and use naturally. When you focus only on rules and charts, your brain struggles to apply them in real-time conversations. Grammar becomes a roadblock, not a tool. In this chapter, you'll discover how to absorb grammar organically through meaningful context. Instead of drilling endless rules, you'll learn how grammar naturally becomes part of your speech when you hear it and use it in real-life situations. When you listen to conversations, watch videos, or read texts, your brain picks up patterns of how words fit together, without needing to consciously think about the rules. This approach is like how children learn their first language. They don't study grammar books. They hear language around them, imitate it, and gradually develop a feel for what sounds right. You can do the same by surrounding yourself with natural English and practicing actively. You'll also learn simple strategies to practice grammar in context, like repeating phrases, shadowing dialogues, and speaking about your daily experiences. So grammar becomes automatic. No more boring drills or confusing charts, just real English that flows naturally. By the end of this chapter, you'll understand that grammar isn't a strict rulebook to follow, but a living part of language that you develop through listening and speaking. The freedom to use grammar naturally will boost your confidence and help your English sound more fluent and natural. Chapter 9. Create your English environment at home. You might think that to become fluent in English, you need to live in an English-speaking country, but that's not true. The truth is, you can create your own English environment right at home, no matter where you live. This chapter will show you how to turn your everyday space into a powerful learning zone where English surrounds you naturally, without any pressure or stress. First, let's talk about your phone, something you use all the time. Changing your phone's language to English is an easy step that helps you get used to everyday English words and phrases. Suddenly, Everything from your messages to your apps becomes a chance to practice. You don't need extra study time. You're learning passively all day long. Next, think about your music and videos. Listen to English songs, watch shows, or YouTube videos in English that you enjoy. Don't worry if you don't understand everything at first. The key is to enjoy yourself and expose your brain to real language. Over time, your understanding grows naturally. Make English entertainment part of your daily routine, like a fun habit rather than a chore. Social media is another place where you can immerse yourself. Follow English-speaking pages, join groups about your interests, and read simple posts or comments. Engaging a little bit every day helps you see how English is used by real people in real life. Even your free time can become English time. Try to think in English during simple daily activities like cooking, cleaning, or walking. Describe what you're doing, talk to yourself, or repeat phrases you've learned. It might feel strange at first, but these small actions build your confidence and make English feel natural. The secret is to surround yourself with English in a way that fits your life and interests, so learning doesn't feel like a task, but a part of your world. When you create this English environment at home, your brain stays connected to the language constantly, and that makes all the difference. By the end of this chapter, you'll see how easy it is to bring English into your daily life and how powerful this natural immersion can be. You don't have to wait for a trip abroad or expensive classes. Your English journey starts where you are, at home, with simple steps every day. Chapter 10. Why confidence is more important than accuracy. Many English learners believe that speaking perfectly is the goal, that every sentence must be flawless, every word pronounced just right, and every grammar rule followed strictly. But here's a truth that changes everything. Aiming for perfection can actually stop you from speaking at all. When you focus too much on accuracy, you often lose confidence, and without confidence, speaking becomes a struggle. This chapter will help you understand why confidence matters more than being perfect, and how embracing mistakes can actually speed up your progress. Making mistakes is not a sign that you are bad at English. It's a natural and necessary part of learning any language. Even native speakers make mistakes all the time. They just don't worry about it because they are confident to keep talking. When you accept that errors are normal, the pressure to be perfect disappears and you feel free to express yourself. This freedom is the fuel for real speaking practice. Think about when you were a child learning your first language. Did you speak perfectly from the start? Of course not. You stumbled, repeated sounds, and made all sorts of mistakes. But because you were confident and curious, you kept trying. That's the exact mindset you need now. Confidence comes from practice, from trying, from small successes that build up over time. You'll learn how to celebrate these small wins, like saying a sentence without stopping, understanding a question, or making someone smile with your English. These moments build your belief in yourself far more than memorizing rules ever will. When you focus on what you can do instead of what you can't, your brain starts to see progress, and that keeps you motivated. Also, this chapter will show you simple ways to stop judging yourself so harshly. Negative thoughts like, "I'm not good enough," or "My English is terrible," only create fear and hesitation. Instead, you will learn how to replace those thoughts with positive affirmations and kindness towards yourself. Speaking English is not a test. It's a skill you develop step by step. By the end of this chapter, you'll understand why confidence is the secret ingredient to fluent speaking. You'll know how to let go of the fear of mistakes and start speaking more freely today. Remember, it's not about perfect English. It's about being understood and connecting with others. Confidence opens the door, and accuracy will improve naturally with time. So speak boldly, speak often, and trust the process. Chapter 11. How to practice. Speaking alone. Yes, it works. What if you want to practice speaking English, but there's no one around to talk to? Maybe your friends or family don't speak English, or you feel shy about speaking with others. Don't worry, practicing alone can be just as powerful, and this chapter will show you exactly how to do it effectively. Speaking alone might sound strange at first, but it's a proven way to build confidence, improve fluency, and get comfortable with your own voice. The first step is to use simple tools you already have: a mirror, your phone, and a notebook. Start by looking at yourself in the mirror and speaking out loud. This might feel a little awkward, but it's a safe space where no one will judge you. Try describing what you see around you, talking about your day, or practicing common sentences. Speaking in front of the mirror helps your brain connect your thoughts with your mouth movements, making speaking easier in real conversations. Next, use your phone to record yourself. Listening to your own voice might feel strange or uncomfortable at first, but it's one of the best ways to notice your mistakes and track your progress. Record short speeches, answer simple questions, or read aloud. Then listen carefully and gently correct yourself. Over time, you will hear your English improving, and this positive feedback will motivate you to keep practicing. Your notes can also be very useful. Write down useful phrases or sentences you want to practice, then use them in your solo speaking sessions. For example, pick a daily routine topic like ordering food, introducing yourself, or talking about your hobbies. Practice these sentences until they feel natural. You can even create mini dialogues and act out both parts. This active repetition helps your brain remember and prepares you for real conversations. One of the most powerful tips is to talk to yourself throughout the day, not just during practice time. Describe what you are doing, what you are thinking, or what you see. This constant speaking habit trains your brain to think and express in English automatically. For example, if you're cooking, say, "I am chopping vegetables," or when you're walking, say, "I am walking to the store." These simple sentences build your speaking muscles without pressure. Remember, practicing alone is not about perfection. It's about building a habit, making mistakes, and becoming comfortable with English as a living language inside you. Even a few minutes of solo speaking every day can make a huge difference. Many successful English speakers started practicing this way when no one else was around, and it helped them gain the confidence they needed to speak with others later. By the end of this chapter, you will see that practicing speaking alone is not just possible. It's a powerful and fun tool that anyone can use. You don't need a partner, a teacher, or a special class, just your voice, your thoughts, and a little practice every day. So start today. Talk to yourself, record your voice, and watch your speaking skills grow faster than you ever thought possible. Chapter 12. The Final Key. Identity and Motivation. At the end of this journey, we dive deep into the most powerful factor in your English learning, your mindset. This chapter is all about identity, how you see yourself and how that shapes your learning. You'll discover that success doesn't come only from methods or techniques, but from truly believing deep inside that you are a person who speaks English. When you start to see English as part of who you are, everything changes. You'll learn practical ways to build this new identity and keep your motivation strong, even when progress feels slow or challenges come your way. This includes simple habits for tracking your real improvements, celebrating small wins, and staying focused on your goals. Instead of focusing on perfection or speed, you'll learn to appreciate growth and enjoy the process. Ultimately, this chapter shows you how to make English a natural part of your life and your self-image. When you believe English is part of me now, speaking it becomes easier, more confident, and even fun. This mindset shift is the final key that unlocks your full potential as a successful English speaker.